All right. Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is Thursday Roundtable Mastermind. My name is E.R. Wolf. I'm one of the co-founders here at Elify, and we're excited to have you as we talk about today's topic, which is what does success mean to you? So again, what does success mean to you is today's topic for our Thursday Roundtable. We're going to be talking briefly about that topic, and then I want to open this up for general discussion with everybody on the call. If you're watching this live on YouTube, feel free to throw it in the comments and we will try to get back to you. And if you're seeing this as a replay, please ask questions within the social groups on Elify Insiders or the Elify affiliate groups in Facebook. But guys, let's talk about what success means to you and what success means to us here at Elify. And a lot of the times I hear from people who are solely focused on success in a singular area of their life, right? I want financial success, or I want career success, or maybe I want success within my family, or I want to be successful in my physical appearance and how I feel physically or mentally. And an argument that we make here at Elify is true success is a holistic approach where we balance success in all of our life. So let me repeat that. True success is a holistic approach where we have balanced success in all areas of our life. And what does that mean? We are subscribers to EGI and Edge Global, and sort of the mindset of a champion that they have been implementing. This all rolls out of somebody who is an author that I think a lot of us are familiar with, which is Zig Ziglar, right? And he wrote a book called Born to Win. It was sort of the opus of his 70-plus year career, one of the final books that he wrote. And one of the arguments that he made and that we subscribe to, and you'll find this in your affiliate assets if you're an Elify affiliate, is the Wheel of Life. And it has a bunch of spokes. And again, there are several versions of this. You can find them online. We've added this one, the EGI one, into your affiliate assets on Elify affiliates. And it has 7 spokes. And I want to go through each of those spokes. And I want to talk about holistic success, balanced success. So there's the physical spoke, the family spoke, the mental spoke, the financial spoke, the spiritual spoke, the career spoke, and the personal spoke. And again, as I mentioned on the opening of this roundtable discussion, is it worth it in your mind to be uber successful with your finances if it means your mental success is 0 or your family success is 0, that you let other things drop in lieu of being successful in one area? And so I want you to consider that. And then what I want to do right now is I want to share what we're talking about here and where all of this is coming from. And if you are watching this either as a replay, you'll be able to scan the QR code. I'm going to go ahead and post this link in here, but I'm sharing this is part of what I continually focus on, which is my personal growth. And this is a little recommendation to the Born to Win book. If you read this book, there's a lot of great meat in there for a balanced approach towards working towards success or finding your success. And I'm a firm believer in what Zig says, which is everybody is born to win. Everybody is born to win. Now, the reality is some people don't want to win or don't want to be successful, and that's fine. That's on them. And some people are not willing to do what it takes to be successful. But this book lays out a great map, a great process, a great system that any one of us can follow that will help lead us to that holistic, balanced success in our life. So I've got a direct link here to the book. This is on Audible. If you've not listened to this book, I'm going to post this into the chat for everybody. And I'd encourage you, go download the book. If you don't have it on Audible, give it a listen. Check it out from your local library if you're not on Audible or can't afford to purchase the book, and take an opportunity to read through it. Zig says, we should always spot check our big, hairy, audacious goals, our balanced success sheet on an annual basis, or at least every 6 months. So here we are, we're at the beginning of July, we're 6 months through 2022, and this is our opportunity to spot check where we are. So I got the QR code up. If you're watching this in replay on your computer, you can pick up your phone and scan it like you scan your QR, and it'll link us back to that Born to Win book. Now, let's talk briefly, and then we'll open this up for any question and answer about how to use this sheet, guys, and how powerful this can be in helping us. And you know that we hold a call every single Monday for sprint planning. And one of the reasons we hold this call is to be focused on the elements and areas of items that are going to help us progress and grow in success in all areas of the spokes on this wheel. I'd also encourage you, this is mine from 6 months ago. This is my wife's from 6 months ago. And we're going to take an opportunity this weekend, as we will still and refill, to go out and spot check, take a status check of where we are in achieving our balance of our wheel of life. And this gives us an opportunity to measure and course correct. However, if you've never done this before, you want to get the baseline. This is probably the most important thing. If you're ever taking a trip, you want to identify where you're going, but you also need to understand where you're starting from. And so this is the opportunity for all of us to take a status check of where we are now. And when I look at mine, I will hope to see that I've progressed from where I was. I might not be where I want to go, but I'm going down the right path towards that balanced success. So one thing you want to do is you want to look at each one of these spokes, and you want to measure on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at right now in that area, right? Physically, for you, not for me, but for you individually, your physical health on a scale of 1 to 10, just think for 2 seconds, it should pop into your head, where am I right now? Do I feel like I'm a 2 out of 10 on what my ideal success would be with physical health? Am I a 10 out of 10, And this is individual. So maybe my idea of physical health is, having 10% body fat and a 6-pack of abs. Maybe your physical health is being able to hold a specific pose in yoga or walk around the block without breathing heavy. Again, it's going to be independent for each of us. So you're going to want to identify what is your current level of physical success. Okay, then do that for each of the spokes. Take a spot check on your family side. Maybe you haven't talked to your family in a while. Maybe you're separated from your family. Maybe that's okay. Maybe internally you've got a great dynamic with your family. What is a 10 out of 10 of success look like for your family? But really, where are you at right now, right? That's the spot check. Mentally, guys, a lot of us overlook mental health in lieu of physical health, but we have to have balance in our body. So it's just as important to have good mental health as it is to have good physical health. Where are you at right now mentally? Are you doing a lot of meditation? Are you giving a lot of gratitude? Are you taking time to address your mental health? Financial, where are you at right now on your financial success on a scale of 1 to 10? And again, on all of these, we should be able to look briefly and say, I feel like I am a 2 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, etc. What on a scale of 1 to 10 on a status check right now are you? Spiritual, and again, independent of your beliefs, spiritually, if you're Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, does not matter. Where are you at in your spiritual journey? And what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10 you are right now? Your career. Again, if you're in the midst of a transition in your career, if you've been in your career for a long time, it doesn't matter. Where are you at right now in terms of where you feel like you want to be, right? This is the status check. Where is our point A? Personal. A lot of us overlook personal. Sometimes we're focused on other people. I know as a young parent, I focus a lot of time on my children, on my spouse, and sometimes I forget that personally I need to focus on myself every now and then. So guys, you want to take that status check from every spoke of your wheel of life. I see, Ruben, you've got yours up in the background. You want to connect the dots as well, and you want to look at that wheel. Are your spokes offset? Are you having a bumpy ride? Think about that. When you have balance in your life, those spokes all connect into a circular wheel and you're rolling through life. If you've ever heard those people who say, wow, it just seems easy. It's just, I've got the momentum. Everything's going well. It's because they've got that balance and they're rolling. Now ask yourself, how big is your wheel, right? Are you a 1 out of 1 for every single one of those spokes and you've got this little wheel and it's rolling really fast to try and keep up and it's just, you're hanging on with both hands as you go? Or do you have that big wheel and it's easy to roll over big obstacles and all of those things? You want to take that status check right now because this represents your point A. Okay? So if you're watching this in replay, go on ahead and pause this right now. Take an opportunity to go through each of the spokes and do the status check. Where am I at right now? Okay, guys, so you've gone through and you've done a status check. Where am I at right now? And what does my wheel look like right now? And that's going to give you a good indication of your starting point, how bumpy your road feels when you're riding through, life, all of those types of things. The next step in this process, and again, all of this is coming out of that Born to Win book. So take an opportunity to reread through it if you need to do that. We want to talk about where we want to go in our wheel of life. What does true success mean to you individually? And we want to take an opportunity to be diligent about filling this out. If you looked at the scale, each one of these is on a scale of 1 to 10. So ask yourself this question for each of these scales. What does a 10 out of 10 look like for me in my life, right? What does a 10 out of 10 for physical health look like? And this is going to be based specifically on you. Again, maybe it's walking around the block without getting winded. Maybe it's the ability to do 100 chin-ups. What does that look like for you? And think about that and take an opportunity to really, really think about it. What is that 10 out of 10? One of the things that I did 6 months ago that I think would help everybody is I actually took an individual sheet of paper and I wrote out, what does my 10 out of 10 look like for each of these spokes? Take some time to actually write it out. Physically, for your family, mentally, financially, spiritually, for your career, personally, and go through, right? What are those goals? I'm going to give you an example right now. Mental, balance, reduce stress and anxiety, build greater confidence, be more selfless instead of selfish, improve self-discipline and focus, work on my own perfectionism and even procrastination. Guys, be honest with yourself. This is mine personally. And have I been working on all of these areas? Absolutely, for the last 6 months. And then I'm going to re-course correct after doing this weekend and move on. Then what can you be doing? What are the action items that are going to take you from the current status that you're at in that wheel of life spoke and what you're moving towards? Yeah, Ruben, did you have a question? And I think you're muted, Ruben.
I'm responding to Shelly. Absolutely, Shelly. Definitely you and I will get together and I'll show you how to do that. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you guys for connecting, and make sure you share your cards with each other in there so that you can get connected.
Yeah.
So guys, we're going through this wheel. 10 out of 10 is the next step. Write that down and then write the action items. This is all going to boil back to taking our big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG as they call it, of what is a 10 out of 10 for every spoke, and breaking that down to something that is achievable and that we can put into practice on a daily basis, right? Because a goal without a plan is just a dream, okay? And independent of the size of your goal, that will help you understand how long it might take you to reach that 10 out of 10. For some spokes, you might reach them in the next 6 months, a 10 out of 10. For others, it might take you years of diligent practice to reach the level of 10 out of 10. But you're going to go through this process almost every 6 months. You can remind yourself, this is something I keep on my desk on a daily basis just to remind myself. And then I'm looking at what am I writing down of the action items? When we talk about sprint planning on Monday, all we're talking about is, are you prioritizing and implementing the action items that you need to take that will lead you to a 10 out of 10 on all of your spokes? Okay. And we want you to be balanced. That's the key. You can do this exercise and only focus on one spoke, like finance, right? A lot of you who are Elify affiliates, that's where that spoke is geared towards. What does a 10 out of 10 look like for you? And then you want to write down those activities. But if you do it in a balanced way, you'll have a lot more balance as you continue to expand where you're at on those spokes. So I want to throw this out. If there's any questions, I'm going to open this up for any type of Q&A. And let's go through it. Let's discuss it, because I truly want everyone who's watching this to realize the success that you want to achieve. But you're the one who has to do this for yourself. You're the one who has to identify where you're at, identify where you're going, create the path or the plan of action items that it's going to take to get there, and then make a priority to take care of those items on a continual basis so that you move in that direction of point A to point B, and then come back and continue to measure and correct as you go down that journey. Guys, it's all about that practice. So Ruben, yes, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, I finished a 12-week course several months ago from Zig Ziglar's son, Tom Ziglar. He's got his book. It's called Choose to Win. And again, my main focus is the fastest way to success is to replace bad habits with good habits. So it's basically, for me, it was a habit forming process, because if you do something every single day or frequently, they have days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever, your mind will seek that. Okay. And you can imagine if it's bad, it'll seek that. If it's good, it'll seek that. So essentially, I got all these spokes lined up, and I was at a certain level with each of them. And of course, the book takes you through that. They have links that you can go ahead and form, just like you said, ER that you're doing. But I found it to be very effective for me, because my world now stems from two major focuses. One, Elify, online primarily, and the other is my artwork. And so now, it's Sir again. Oh, I love that Sir guy. He is so cool. I have never met him, never seen him, but I can hear him.
He's 11.
We'll see him sometime.
Absolutely.
But that's my comment.
Ruben, I think this is so important. And again, independent of what book that you're reading, right? Tom Ziglar, Zig Ziglar, or some of the other thought leaders out there, what we're still trying to do is implement a process or a system and stick to that. And Ruben, you're spot on. At the end of the day, all of this mapping, all of this big outlook vision stuff has to boil back down to the surface level of actionable items that I can take. And Ruben, to your point, that I can make habitual, that I can, we are creatures of habit, right? So if we want to work on our mental health, if we do something every day, even if it's small, 30 minutes of meditation or mindfulness or gratitude, that can have a world of difference on the impact it has for our mental health. And in fact, I would challenge anybody to do this. Try and meditate for an hour once a month versus 15 minutes every day, and see which one has a greater impact on your life. We're looking at what daily habits can we put into action. The same thing with your physical health. Guy and I are ex-athletes. We didn't work out one day a week or one day a month. We worked out every single day, but we did it in a way that was balanced, right? We didn't lift our arms every single day. We lifted them one day and let them rest while we ran the next day. And then we did lower body, and then we ran the next day, etc. We had a program that we followed, but that program was built around the foundation of individual daily activities or practice that led to the result. And I want to share something I read about just that, Ruben. And I forget the name of the book. If I find it, I'll post it in a comment. But basically, the author was saying some people love the idea of success in some area, right? And her example was yoga from the physical aspect. She goes, I love the idea of yoga, right? I've got the pants, I've got the mat, I've got the shirt, I've got the, everything you need for yoga, but I don't practice it. And that's what I want to call out as sort of the game-changing difference. You cannot love the idea of something, but you have to put in the practice to get there. And all practice is that preparation. You hear about luck is preparation meets opportunity. Practice is just being prepared for when opportunity presents itself, and then you can execute. But if you're not putting in daily practice on all of the areas of the wheel of life, you're not going to have a balanced approach of reaching success in all of those areas. And that's truly what we're talking about. Now, Ruben, before we come back to you, Brenda, I saw that you had your hand up earlier. Please feel free, join the conversation.
Good morning, everyone. Basically, you answered my question. I like the idea of the wheel of life, and I had just got a book called Read to Succeed by this gentleman. And basically, it's the power of the book is transferring your life and put your path to success. And I like the fact that you're going to be sitting down with your wife with this, because I was working on this to myself. I didn't even think about bringing my family into it. And I think it's a good idea that you implement your family on these goals, because everybody should be on the same path of a will of life.
Yep.
My question is, do you do this every 6 months or every quarter, looking at your will?
The suggestion at a minimum is every 6 months.
Okay.
If you can do it every quarter, great. I would say you don't need to do it every single month. For me, it's about going back and revisiting everything, reminding myself, because if we do this one time and we set it up on a shelf, it's out of sight, out of mind, right? But if we do this and then we continue to remind ourselves, there's the term that we use a lot: will, skill, and refill. Guys, the refill is the repetitive practice of looking at it every day. This is no different than having, say, a vision board, where if you did the Wheel of Life and you said my 10 out of 10 is visualized on this vision board, right? My family, my finance, my mental health, my physical, and you've got sort of all of these things. You don't build a vision board just to put it in the closet, right? You build a vision board to stick it on the wall and look at it every day. And a lot of this is going to be determined by what they identify as your why, right? Why am I going to be willing to take and implement daily practice? You have to have enough inspiration and motivation, because guess what, guys? Things are going to come up. The world is going to happen. To Ruben's point, bad habits are going to creep back in. So you need to be continuous in this thing. It's a diligent practice that you focus on in order to make forward progress. So I think that's a huge thing. Yeah, Guy, do you have something to add?
I do want to add to that. In doing the activity, or whatever we call it, from the aspect of every 6 months, every quarter, I think to be cognizant of it, if we're trying to work a 10 out of 10 on every one of these, they can't be out of sight, out of mind. They have to be worked daily. And we are captives of our habit, whether it's good or bad. We are captive to it. And in order to adjust a bad habit, they always say 21 days to a new habit. Well, those 21 days have to be consecutive. They can't be a work week. They can't be 5 days, 2 days off, 5 days, 2 days off. It's got to be something that's going to be consecutive. And you've got to be conscious. That's a big thing. I know we also talked about a few months back when we were talking Atomic Habits. You've got to be conscious of your habits. Like, consciously knowing when you get up. Are you getting up based on an alarm clock? Are you getting up based on getting into activity? Are you waking up based on grabbing your phone and looking at social media and looking at emails? I mean, if that's what you do, and those are habits, I can speak to myself a while back, and it was pick the phone up and look at emails.
Yep.
Don't do that anymore. Like, my phone stays on Do Not Disturb until 9 a.m. Yep. And it's on Do Not Disturb because it gives me the opportunity to increase my positive habits from a mental state, a at-home state with my wife and daughter, to be able to focus on those types of things. And then I have a habit now of turning off Do Not Disturb and getting into work and getting into elements that I can knock out quick in my day. First thing I can do, probably the most important things that I can say, what's going to take me less than 15 minutes that I can do right now, and try to knock those off. Because I'm a person of small things. Take care of the small things. Big things will take care of themselves, right? We've talked to you guys about videos and creation, and I've knocked out the outlines. Now it's knocking out the production of them. Well, the production's just going to be recording, and being able to say, hey, I have a habit of anxiety when I get in front of a computer screen recording myself. Nothing else but myself. And I've got to get past that habit. And I've got some elements here that I want to share, but I can do that here in a little bit. I know, Ruben, you had your hand up and wanted to contribute a little bit more to this. But knowing that, in order to have these types of habits, in order to reach what we deem success or significance, you've got to have a system and a process You've got to be organized. As you might imagine, there are times ER and I are not organized. So what did we do? We hired organization, right? We hired someone to organize us. And I'll tell you the efficiencies that have happened based on this. He's on top of us. He asks us daily if something has been completed. Until he doesn't harp us. He just asks us. And, if it goes past a week and you hear every day, do you have this complete? And you say no, it's sort of that, okay, I need to sit down and take the 15 minutes to get this done. Because that most likely for ER and I, it's 15 minutes. It's just to get it done, get it out. So Ruben, go ahead, and then I'll share the 18 harsh truths that will make you a strong person.
Okay. I need those. Right here, I'm looking at refreshing my memory here on replacing a bad habit with a good habit. You need a strategy, obviously. But this was really something here is that if the bad habit is being self-centered and unintentionally not growing relationships or whatever. So the strategy here is each day write down the name of one person you can be grateful for, and then reach out to that person, a phone call, text, or whatever, and ask them about themselves. That they just came from a trip or they just had a baby or whatever that case may be. It gets you into that mindset. And again, if you can do that, some people I know post their gratefulness every single day, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So they're probably on the journey, on the spiritual journey of this wheel itself. But it does take a strategy and a form of action to get it started, and starting now, writing it down and whatever. So, because I thought that was kind of interesting, because obviously my main goal is to build multiple relationships so people can trust me online for my call to action.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And Ruben, I think you bring up some great stuff, and we've heard that common theme about habits, which are good and which are bad. And that brings up the book that Guy referenced, Atomic Habits, James Clear. It's another great book. If you get an opportunity, go through and listen to that as well. He talks about just daily and 1% improvement, right? Just over time will add up to a lot of stuff. But there are good habits and bad habits. And guys, we are all making choices every single day. And I will tell you, some of those choices are good and some of those choices are bad. And I'm just as guilty as the bad choices as anybody else. And what we have to do is we have to recognize what we're doing, because to Guy's point, some of those bad things or some of those habits are already so ingrained, they're subconscious. We don't even have to think about them. You know what I mean? So as much as I've heard about like a to-do list, we've also got to talk about the not to-do list. Sometimes writing down and analyzing ourselves and saying, these are the bad habits, and putting them down, you know what I mean, can help us replace those, at least be cognizant of the bad habit, and then replace the bad habit with the good habit. And James Clear will talk in his book about things like habit stacking, or, in order to replace the bad habit with the good habit, maybe you do the good habit before you do the bad habit, right? I'm going to be able to get on the treadmill for my physical health only if I watched the movie that I would have sat on the couch and watched. So you combine those two things together so that you can adopt the good habit. Now walking on the treadmill and watching a movie is serving a decent purpose. And I start doing that. And now I'm sort of segueing from the bad habit and replacing the bad habit to going to the good habit. Eventually I stop watching movies while I'm on the treadmill and I start listening to inspirational personal improvement or self-help or growth or education material, guys. That's how it starts to work. And all of a sudden I've gone from just sitting on the couch watching movies to watching movies while being on the treadmill to being on the treadmill while listening to self-improvement stuff. And all of a sudden over time, I've gone from point A to point B. And then to Guy's point, if we're trying to get those new habits to be subconscious, we've got to go through repetition. Guy said 21 days in a row. I would almost argue 100 repetitions, meaning if it's something you do every day or multiple times per day, you've got to do it 100 times before it starts to feel supernatural. That means if it's something you do once a day, it could take you up to 90 to 100 days to start to let that sink in. Right. Some habits will take you years to start doing. So you have to be diligent about being focused on getting that action item done. But I'll tell you what, like, I've had things where it's taken me a year to adopt, but I was diligent about doing it every day, you know what I mean? And putting in those habits. And now I don't think about it at all. It just happens. So create that routine. And that's really what the Wheel of Life is going to lead to, guys, for each of these things. And Brenda, to your point, including your family and including other people has a big impact. One, everybody's on the same page. Hey guys, I really want to tell you what my goals are. Why? So that you can hold me accountable to what I'm going to do. If you've ever seen people out on social, right? Like, hey, everybody, I'm starting day one of my diet. Again, that's what they're doing. They're trying to have some accountability and they're projecting that out to everybody. It's much easier to quit our goals if we're the only one who knows about them, right? It's much harder if people are holding us accountable. You know, hey, Guy, didn't you say X, Y, and Z? Yes, you're right. I did. And I need to continue to focus on that. Also, including the family. Like, guys, we're going to be surrounded by what they call the dream snatchers all the time. They're the pessimistic, negative type of people. Not sure why it happens. And they may even be close family members or loved ones who just sort of beat down our optimistic, reaching out mentality, right? Brenda, what are you talking about? You'll never be, I mean, wow, what a crushing blow to hear somebody else say they wouldn't bet on us succeeding at our goals. You know, for some of us, we can use that as fuel for the fire. Oh, yeah? Well, I'll show you in the next family barbecue we're at, you know, when I've lost 10 pounds or when I've done this or when I've done that, I'm going to make you eat your words. So again, just be aware of what those things are, but write them down and make your plan for each of those things on the Wheel of Life. And when we do it, when I do that with my wife, like things for the family, we talk about our goals together. We do them individually so that we're not going to bias each other. And then we come together and we share what we're talking about, right? And then we combine those things when we're in alignment. So I'm going to read through my family one, right? My goal to pour into my wife and kids, to get closer with my extended family, my sister, my in-laws, my parents, to have that great family relationship and to connect more with my mom and my dad. What does that mean? Now we've got to put it into practice, guys. Daily. My goal is to daily have breakfast or dinner together as a family, spend time together on the weekends to do activities together. We've got hiking, biking, swimming, games, all these things that we can do. And again, this is me. You do this for yourself, right? On Saturday and Sunday, taking time on a weekly basis to talk to my sister or to call my mom or my dad. These are all things that in my mind represent a 10 out of 10 for family. In your mind, your 10 out of 10 is going to be something completely different, right? Weeknights after I'm done with work, are we going to spend time together? My wife and I, when the kids are asleep, make time for that type of stuff.
No, no, not with as long as our days go. They don't want to stay up and spend time with us.
But again, these are what the goals and the dreams are, guys. And this is what we work towards and what we come back and we adjust from. Do I feel like I'm a 10 out of 10 on the Family Spoke? No. Do I feel like I've improved from where I was? Yes, that's what it is. I don't think any of us will ever reach our 10 out of 10s, guys, because every time we do this every 6 months, we realize that we had this limit on ourselves and we start to expand how long that spoke can be. And think about this. If you continue to do this, and I'm going to talk about why time is so important here. If you continue to do this over time, I would reason to bet, okay, that 6 months goes by and maybe you go from like a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10, but then you're redoing it and that 6 out of 10, you know, the 10 out of 10 starts to move and it looks more like a 5 or a 4 again. And then you do it again. And so 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years. And in 5 years, if you look back to your first Wheel of Life 5 years before, you would realize that your 10 out of 10 is now a 5 out of 10. And you're always working in progress. That's why we hear it's about the journey, not the destination. It's about the things we put in practice on a daily basis to achieve that success.
Right. You know, to add to this, just from not a different statement, but I know we talk books, we talk the James Clear, the Zig Ziglar, Zig's son. We all need something as either a path, inspiration for us to motivate ourselves to do things. And so from a James Clear thing, you know, I am one of those Cliff Note type people. Like, and that's why I think we vote so well with our technologies. It's micro technology. So the micro education. I educate myself in bite-sized pieces. I'm probably not going to sit down and read a whole book, right? I might put it on Audible and put it at 3x and get through it in an hour. Or I get the bite-sized elements that we used to, you know, in school when you had Cliff Notes at the time. And I think there's Cliff Notes are still around. I'm not sure. But the thing where you can educate yourself just enough to be dangerous, right? And so from the James Clear thing, I would encourage everyone to get on his email list. I think it's probably the best email that I receive, and he sends it every week, just once a week. And his titles of what he gives you are 3 ideas for me. That's from him. 2 quotes from others. And 1 question for you. And that's all this email is. And it really does put things in perspective sometimes on, okay, here's inspiration, right? As a coach, I was taught, and I had learned, and I have also taught that I can't motivate anybody. Motivation is something it's your own, it's yourself, it's you doing it. But you can inspire, right? You can, the quote or the statement, lead a horse to water, right? You can only do so much, but you can only do so much with yourself as well. And I know ER people talk about it, fake it till you make it. I don't like the fake it till you make it because I don't like the word fake. I just do act as if. And
Yep.
What if you just act as if? Yep. You know, your spokes in your wheel of life. If I'm working towards a 10, and same thing you're saying, ER, that 10 might end up being a 5 a few years down the road. But it's also the aspect of reaching those 10s. I might be a 9 on everything forever, but might not reach that 10 because that 10 is like anything in life. The last step is probably the hardest to get to. That's where you have to put the most in. So to be 100% across the board for all of those is really making sure that you live a purpose-driven life on the whole wheel of life, and making sure that the system. And awesome, Shelley. I knew you would probably sign up for that one. It is a great email, and I enjoy it. In fact, I get it, and now my parents get it, and my family gets it because they love just what James Clear has to talk about. So what I wanted to just bring in and don't want to take away from this is I had mentioned the 18 harsh truths that will make you a strong person. Another micro education, right? A micro learning opportunity. I'm not on social media. You don't see us out there much. But I do follow some things. Startup Ethics on Instagram. If you want to look up Startup Ethics, they give a lot of, 18 truths, 8 signs you're probably an extroverted introvert. So there you go, ER. 7 money lessons we wish we knew in our 20s. Those types of things. But 18 harsh truths. There's no perfect moment. Holding yourself to unrealistic standards creates frustration. So just do it now. Right? There's so many things in our lives that we're preparing to do it. And we continue to prepare to do it. And I'm going to, within Shuffle, I'm going to make sure my card is perfect. And I keep working on it, and I keep working on it, and I keep looking at the 0 on sins, and I keep working on it, and I keep working on it. And that sin never changes. Just get it out there, right? Just do it now. Number 2, we can't control our past. Wasting time to worry about what is lost time. Right? So many of us do live in our past. I'm a product of that in times. Like, what if? What if we would have done this? What about this relationship? What could have happened here? That's just wasting time. And that's lost time. And you're losing more time by doing that. Number 3, our words have the power to hurt. Cruel remarks wound others for life. Use your words to inspire and liberate instead. I think that's what we really want to do here within the Elify community, is empower and liberate. Number 4, failure quickly gets to our hearts, but success goes to our heads. Our character is revealed by our highs and lows. Be humble at the top. Be faithful in the valleys. Number 5, our assumptions about the happiness, about what happiness should be, are what makes us unhappy. Let go of our expectations about what could make you happy and treasure the life you have and what it is. Number 6, our devices often get in the way of our social interaction. I mean, this speaks to Elify. Yes, we want to have you out there socially interacting, meeting people, but also you have a device here to make that introduction. Don't hide behind your gadgets. Listen to others' stories face to face. Number 7, we judge ourselves by our ideas and others by their actions. Be a person whom others want to meet and be around. Number 8, sadly, we don't get what we give. Don't expect people to always give back. Not everyone has a giving in their heart for you. Number 9, no one owes you anything. Stop blaming others. Take your power back and own your journey. I think that speaks to a lot of us, right? It speaks to me. Stop blaming others in other elements. Stop saying why. Just own our journeys and we control it. Number 10, we all will die. No one will live forever. Start living a purposeful life and try to mend broken relationships, because you never know when life will end. Right? You're not going to see me tomorrow on Friday with Founders. In fact, I haven't had a chance to talk with ER about it. Close friend, wife passed. Got to go to a memorial. She's 25 years old. It's crazy how short this thing is. The thing with this close friend, we haven't talked in probably 10 years. Mend relationships, right? To experience the benefits, number 11, to experience the benefits of something in life, we have to accept the cost. Rewards and risks go hand in hand. Ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to achieve what I am? And I think that's a lot of our wheel of life and our habits. What are we willing to give up in our bad habits to take the risk to achieve what we want? Number 12, we are responsible for the problem you encounter, regardless of who caused them. Instead of worrying about who caused them, think about how can you get yourself out of the situation. Number 13, the worst addiction in the world is comfort. Take the road less traveled, which is sometimes filled with barriers, detours, bumps, and undiscovered territory. I think that's huge, right? We're all wanting to blaze our own path. We are going to have barriers, detours, bumps, hurdles, right? ER, we talk about it all the time. The hurdles, the barriers, they're not stopping us. There's ways through them, around them, over them, under them, whatever it is. It's just getting through them. Number 14, justice is a human invention. In reality, it's unachievable, and many destroy lives by demanding it. 15, hating oneself starts with breaking one's promise. Once done, it feels terrible. When it becomes a habit, you hate yourself more. Don't let it become a habit. 16, sometimes we have to ditch toxic friends for our lives and surroundings. Prime example, right? We all probably have them. You are an accumulation of your closest friends and family. Number 17, good things usually don't come easily. And if you think about it, great accomplishments take time. Don't expect rewards instantly. I think that's the gratification aspect, right? People are looking for opportunities, different types of things that they're being told you're going to make 6-7 figures right away. Right? Not letting you know there's going to take a lot of work to be doing this. A lot of relationships to be building. And Ruben, you're working towards it, right? You're building relationships to be the go-to. And it's taking time. But those great accomplishments take time. Number 18, the last one. Not everyone will support your dream. Haters, doubters, and pessimists will sabotage every move you make. To overcome these, follow your gut and forget them.
Every move you make,
every step you take,
following you.
Right. So awesome. You know, the ending in this, in the statement from the startup ethics. I wish I could tell you that living your dream life is a piece of cake. Not so. But get it anyway. You have to find your courage no matter how harsh life gets. That's what it ends with. So just wanted to share that. Thought that sort of played well within success. And when you're sitting down with your wheel of life, having some of those inner thoughts, conversations with yourself to let go of the past, move forward, and take action.
Great. 100%. So good, Guy. And if you get a chance, if there's a link for that, please post that in the chat for everybody to read through. I think those 18 tips were awesome. Guys, in closing, as we wrap this up today, this roundtable discussion, I'm going to encourage you guys, first, take an opportunity if you haven't. Listen to the Tom Ziglar book, the Zig Ziglar book, the James Clear book. Listen to something that's going to talk about going from point A to point B. I would encourage you on the Born to Win. I really like that book, and I've listened to it probably once a month, just putting it in the background or leaving it playing to remind myself to refill on a continual basis. Take an opportunity to fill out the wheel of life. Encourage your family to do the same thing and see if you guys are in alignment. It's so empowering if you find that you are in alignment, because then you have accountability and can support each other. Get granular, okay? Take each one of those spokes and take an opportunity to really put down in writing your true feelings and beliefs on what a 10 out of 10 in each of those spokes is going to be. Write down those goals, okay? And be confident in the goal that you're writing down, and then write down the action steps that it's going to take to get there. And then finally, what I did with each of my pages on the wheel of life, right, is I wrote down the goals and the action steps, and I tried to put when and how often those action steps take place so that I could block a new schedule. And this schedule is, Sunday through Saturday. When am I spending time and when I'm blocking time, right? What is my meditation, my physical activity, my finance area? Where am I working on everything? Family. It's all blocked out here. But understand, we don't manage our time, guys. At the end of the day, we all prioritize our time. We choose to do the things that are most important to us in that moment. So take an opportunity to prioritize the things that you're working on so that you can allocate time to do those things, and leave yourself some flex room, because we can't control everything. So my recommendation to you is try to plan or map this out. Try to leave about 40% of your time as flex time. Think about these items as just daily win task list items that you can check off. And the goal is to prioritize them so you get the big ones done first. Maybe your biggest stuff is focusing on your physical and mental health. And you do that first thing in the morning. You meditate, you exercise, you listen to, inspirational information or podcasts, all of that type of stuff. Make sure you eliminate distraction, guys. If you're sitting down working on something, maybe you need to do what Guy was suggesting. Silence your phone, set it down and turn it over so that you can diligently work on the areas that you need to be focused on. And then take an opportunity, get everything down to a bite-sized chunk so that you can work and focus on things 1 week at a time and 1 day at a time. If we start continuing to look at things in the big picture, we'll never do what Guy's talking about, which is take care of the small things so that the big things take care of themselves. And truly, guys, that is the secret to success. It's taking care of the little things, getting into practice and doing that repetitive thing so that inevitably you end up where you want it to go. Guy, you mentioned it's, act as if, and I love that, right? Not fake it till you make it, act as if. I was reading a book and the woman said, what would a athlete do? That's the only question. Act as if. Oh, the athlete wouldn't eat this unhealthy thing. They would eat this healthy thing. So every choice that she would make for the next week was always prefaced with the question, what would X, Y, and Z do? If you have to do that, like your future self, what would my future self do? On each of those encounters, take an opportunity to do that. Act as if. And finally, in closing, and then we'll open this up for last 10 minutes of Q&A, what does success mean to you? I mean, that's where we open this up. And if you've been listening to this whole time, hopefully you've been musing on that topic for the last 45 minutes, 50 minutes here. What success means to you? What does it mean to you? Take an opportunity to go in and lay it all out. Paint that picture for yourself. Visualize it. Do it with absolute clarity. When you're working on these things, pour yourself into it. What does a 10 out of 10 mean for you for every single area of these things? And then build that plan so that you can achieve that. That's all it takes, guys. That's the secret to success. It's doing the work and taking the actions. So if there are any questions, I'm going to open this up for Q&A. Otherwise, we'll wrap this thing up. Questions, anybody? Comments, tips, tricks? Okay. Well, with that being said, I want to thank you guys. Yes, thank you so much. Ruben, Shelley, Brenda, Guy, as always, love having you on. Love this community more than anything else. And I want to see everybody be successful. If you know somebody who would benefit from seeing this, I'm going to encourage you. I've already reposted in the social, the replay link for this video. Feel free to reshare it out. Invite others to join this community. In my mind, we are truly passionate about helping everybody achieve success. You'll note we didn't talk anything about Elify or Shuffle or Tap on today's conversation because those are just tools and elements that contribute to your overall success. And that's really what we as a community are focused on. So we're going to encourage you to help us build this community by sharing and inviting others. With that being said, our next call is tomorrow morning, Friday with the founders. Then I'm going to encourage you after that Friday with the founders call. That's when I'm going to dig in and put in the work on my wheel of life. I encourage you to do the same thing. Will, skill, and refill, and we'll be back at it next week. So guys, see everybody tomorrow, Friday with the founders, 10 a.m.